Thank you, Christine, for a very interesting presentation. And thank you, Asif, for inviting us to present our exhibition. Actually, today we will talk more about early literacy and about the professionals, not only the teachers, but also the people in the social sector who are working together with the preschool teachers or the teachers itself in the family centers and with the libraries. I would like to apologize for my very poor PowerPoint because we had to do it very quick and we didn't have time to prepare it actually. But if you have question or if you don't understand anything, something, then you can ask us. Well, about myself. Actually, in my very early days, I was a teacher. I'm coming actually from Romania, and the fate break brought me to Belgium. In Romania, I studied Germanic languages, and I taught children from actually 4 years old till to 14 years old, but I didn't do it for a long time. When I came to Belgium, I studied the sciences of the family, and I was very attracted to the social sector. So I'm working. I was working for 10 years already in the for an NGO called Child and Prevention, um, who works also and helps the parents, especially disadvantaged family, in provide educational support. I was working a lot with the theme language development and interaction parent-child and around the theme early literacy. What I'm doing now, I'm the initiator and promoter of two working groups, early literacy in two family center in Brussels. Nathalie?
Hello, I'm Nathalie Verstringen. I'm actually a chief librarian of one of Brussels' district libraries. I'm doing this over 14 years right now, so I'm a public librarian. And very recently, we have engaged in a European project, an Erasmus Plus project, who's called Open the Door for Reading. It is aiming children of 0 to 6 years old. So the idea, you have to take the title of the project very literally. It's from 0 to 6, so before actually children start to read. What has to happen before that to make this a smooth process? So it's actually we've talked a lot. Christina had talked a lot about the secondary school, but we are talking actually before the reading is starting, and we already see there that a lot of problems are already present. We don't have to wait until secondary school to intervene, and so the aim of this project is to end up with a manual or more or less like a working tool, because we're aiming, we are addressing it to professionals. That can be teachers, child carers, librarians, people working in healthcare. So any professional who could play a role in developing or opening up families and children to reading. And that's why we are talking about professionals of very different kind of education also and backgrounds. So we will make a real practical tool which could address some tactics, tips, what they can do to improve reading further on in the school careers of these children. I'm moving on a little situation sketch because it's rather important. So our project is taking place in Brussels, which is a rather particular city. We have two communities here, two official languages, Dutch and French. But there's only a small percentage of Belgians actually living in the Brussels area. So we are in a situation where more and more people do not speak any of those official languages. We are the second most diverse city in the world after Dubai. And we have 180 different nationalities. We have a very scattered city also, from district to district and even from neighborhood to neighborhood. We have real big differences in income, also social differences, and so on. So talking about averages in the city does not really work out well, because there's a huge difference from district to district. But on average, for example, 16% of our 18 years old, they leave school without any degree, which is a very huge percentage. But so that would mean that there's areas in which it would be 5% and other areas in which it would be maybe 40%. So that shows a little bit our situation in this city. We have also very, very much mixed families. So where different languages are spoken at home, and mostly the home languages are not the school languages, which brings us on all kinds of challenges in multilingualism. But then again, we see that a lot of there's there again a big gap, because there's a lot of multilingual families, expat families especially, who are very literate and who have very literate children. But the combination of multilingualism at home and low literacy in parents is turning out very often disaster for the children. We have in Belgium rather low rates also for there's a 20% average low literacy rate, and we have also lower rates for comprehensive reading. So technical reading is rather okay, but comprehensive reading is a lot less. And the pleasure children take in reading is really rather bad. So that's where public libraries enter on the scene of trying to help and support teachers and school teachers in bringing back pleasure in reading. I will leave now the word to Nicoletta again, who will explain how, with our exhibition project, we tried to address these issues.
So yeah, well, a lot of organization and preschools and schools, they are struggling with, oh my God, so many languages, so many home languages. How can we develop the literacy? How can we develop the kids? How do they become good readers? So we think a lot about it as a professionals. But another partner of the professionals are the parents. So together with Christa Donkers, she couldn't be today here. We developed. Christa Donkers provides pedagogical support from and she's a researcher from the Flemish Community Commission in Brussels. She works a lot in the preschool sector, and she works for the entity family. And together we developed an exhibition, because we thought, how can we support the young children? How can we support the parents and young children in order that they love their love for books and their pleasure? Actually, it's a very important. in the preschool anyway, and in the secondary school also, because you talked about let's start from the what the kids know, what the parents know, what they in the family have. So we put ourselves our questions. What with the family that they don't have a reading culture home? How can we support them from our jobs, from our point of view? So we developed this exhibition. It's a lot about reading aloud to children. And when you talk about reading, of course, we thought about books, even for the young one, because to learn to read and to learn to write is an ongoing process from the birth. It's not from the fifth year when you are 5 years old, when your kid is 5 years old, and it's not when you start school. It's really from the birth. And when you are thinking about reading, you think, the book. But we try to extend in this exhibition the term of reading aloud more is more than a book, and so we use the motto the world is a book. Before we started to do this exhibition, we wanted to visualize these methods and some principles, and it's very difficult to visualize principles. And thanks to our graphicus, Desiree, we succeeded in put in images what we wanted to say and what are our principles. First is we don't want to emphasize. We want to emphasize in the early literacy. We want to emphasize that it's very important that the young children and their parents they and the teachers and the preschool teachers and the professionals in the daycare, they experience kind of a joy and quality time and mutual warm interaction. So we emphasize the quality of the interaction and warm a mutual interaction where the kid also is allowed to respond. So this is an important principle in our exhibition. Another one is we have to recognize the talent of the kids to decode, to crack the codes, to crack the symbols, to make the connection between a written or spoken symbol to the reality. Well, they see a ball in an image and they say, this is a ball. So this is a very strong characteristic of the children, and they are able to do this. Actually attaching meaning to letters, word, and sentences. Another principle, and what is very important to us, is the natural learning. We teachers and parents in the first place, we can help and we can support the kids, the young kids and the older kids, of course, but I'm talking about the preschools. But we can't pour knowledge and we can't pour experience in their head. So we have to follow the child's lead, because if they are interested in something, they will be interested. Also, the interaction will be much more vivid, and also it will be so interaction. Actually, the language is submits the interaction. So and you have all kind of languages, of course. You have the body language, you have the oral language, you have the spoken, so the oral language and the pictorial language. So this we wanted to show these principles, but why and for who? So we developed 13 panels with all kind of reading aloud methods next to books, because books are still very important. But we wanted also to underline the the capacity and the power of the parents, because we the professionals, we always say, okay, let's teach the parents, but the parents, they have their own, they have a lot of qualities they can teach us, or they don't need us. It's just we want with this exhibition to underline how talented the parents are, and how can they use their talents in order to help their kids to be a good reader in the future. So what is the silver bullet for what is the secret? How can you make from your young child a good reader, so they can use it, they can find it in, we hope, in this exhibition. One more thing about it. So it's a DIY, do-it-yourself exhibition. So it's an interactive, I mean, it's made for the parents and for the professionals. Each panel has workshops, so except of the panels, they are very interactive. There are another per panel, there are workshops. Why we say DIY? Because you don't need big strategies, something very simple. It's you can do it a la minute, so you can do it very quick. And if you do this, this will have, we want to show that this, what you are doing this at this minute, it can have an effect on the literacy of your children later. Okay, so I will show you some panels. I can't show them all. These are our symbols, because when you read aloud, when you read, when the children are reading, and the young children are reading, they are reading with their heart, so emotionally. They are reading with their ears. They are reading with their sounds, with their hands. And of course, they want to see a lot. They are very eager, and they want to learn a lot of things, but also by feeling, tasting, hearing, seeing. We split our exhibition in two. Actually, we talk about oral literature. We know that the spoken language was much more before the written language, and now what is this panel? What can you see? We like to talk about reading faces. The exhibition travels in the libraries, in the preschools, in the schools, or it stays in a family center, and there are a lot of partners who are coming with parents or with kids. Daycare are coming with kids, or schools are coming with kids to see this. And this is a very, it has a lot of success. Usually, if you see the kids, the parents and their kids, they are coming to, they are attracted by this panel. And usually the young kids, they go to the baby, if you see it, who is crying, and start to caress the baby. And then the parents start to explain why it's happening. They are talking about the emotions, but they are talking also about the physical characteristic of the faces. For example, the teeth and the nose. They are talking about the way they are looking. They are looking like the grandma. So this panel, the young kids like this parents, and this panel, and the parents also. Oral literature, what does it mean? It means nursery rhymes, it means lullabies, it means action songs. What we want to show here is that when we are doing the workshops about sing-along, so sing-along workshop, it's so much fun for all of us, for the teachers, for the parents, and for the kids, for the young kids. I want to underline again that we are in a society multicultural, super diverse society. So we get along. Also for us, the professionals. It's we got a treasure of spoken traditions and a spoken actually, yeah, a lot of songs. What we see, and when we talk about it with the parents and also with the professionals, because the professionals are also super diverse, you see a lot of common things in the rhymes, and this makes it works also very it connects the people also a lot. Then we have an apron. What is this? So an apron, everybody has, or yeah, almost everybody has an apron home. In the kitchen there are, as I told you, there are these methods can be used by the professionals, because you can have a professional reading aloud apron where you can hide all kind of stuff, but also home the parents, or they don't have to have this fancy apron. They can use their own kitchen apron, and they can use their own grocery shop, or they can use their own yeah, trousers to hide stuff and to talk about. It's like to play hide and seek with the young children. And this is we say that is also a baby hit, but also a young child hit, because it has this game hide and seek. It's known in the world, everybody knows it, and it has a lot of success and a lot of interaction. There is a lot of interaction and a lot of pleasure. I want to underline again the word pleasure and love for this game. This is actually a kind of bridge to the next panel, and this we are talking here. It looks like maybe you can't see it because there are not pictures, but it's a wheel of fortune, and actually it's a wheel the parents can turn it, and the professionals, of course, and it's about follow the child's lead. See with the eyes of the child what is his interest. Is he interested in the street in a pigeon, or is he interested in I don't know, in a mirror in the bathroom, or what is your child interested in? This is a very I mean, we don't take both as a professional or a parent, we don't take always the time to stop when the younger child stop us and say, yeah, look. This is very important to follow his interests. Yeah, I will, because my colleague said you have to to rush a little bit. From the three-dimensional world, we are going to two-dimensional world, and this is picture literature. And now we have, I don't know if you know, in Belgium is very known and popular Japanese traditional Japanese method of storytelling, and this is the Kamishibai. I think it's interesting. They are using this all over, in the schools, in the preschools, in the social organization, and we this kind of story they can be used by the professionals, but also home. The parents can make their own books or their own little Kamishibai to go in interaction with the kids. Street art in Brussels, and I've seen in a lot of cities of Europe, there is a lot of street art. There are a lot of pictures on the street. There are a lot of numbers, there are a lot of figures. There you can the signs that you see in the street for the cars. So this is also a source of getting interaction with your child. And the fridge, of course. I want to say something because about the fridge. Um, because here we talk also with the professionals. Well, we were working also a lot with the disadvantaged family, and on the fridge I think everybody has pictures or have a lot of stuff on the fridge, magnetic things. The kids, they love to go and to play with the magnets and the pictures on the fridge. But some professionals told us that in the daycare they use a lot they use a lot of pictures from the advertising leaves from the supermarket, and the kids, they recognize this at home. They recognize this from home, and they are more much more effective than the box itself. And then is the last one, and we are talking about the panel smarter than your smartphone. So we don't want, with this exhibition, we just want to underline the powers of the parents and also of the professionals. But well, some days ago, I think the WHO, so the World Health Organization, advised that the children under 2 years old, they should not use the digital media. But yeah, we don't actually our message to the parents and to the professionals is that actually you can what can a sponge do more than a smartphone? Actually, you can fill, you can build with sponges, you can play with water, you can make stamps, so you can do a lot of with the sponges. And this brings more knowledge and experience than an image on the smartphone. So this is a little bit because there are also other panels. For example, there is another one with shadows. I told you that every panel has workshop for the professional and for the parents. For example, you can for the parents, but for the parents we try to do it with their means, so that doesn't cost nothing. But for example, with the shadow, you can stop and you can play with the sun or with the light. But Natalie, yeah,
I'll just join in because we as a library, of course, we had this exhibition in our library. It had been in schools and in libraries and in childcare centers all over Brussels, and it was also in our library. We had it for the campaign we have every end of November, National Reading Aloud campaign. And that was an occasion to have this exhibition in our library. So we invited all the schools and all the school teachers, and we also invited parents and parents groups, and one of them was especially interesting. It was an organization called Brusselair, who is and the aim of this organization is to teach low literate parents basic literacy skills. So they do this often on the school side. So during school time for children, parents have also literacy courses. And so this is when we had the group of parents in the exhibition. That's a very special group. Also for the library, it was interesting to have them along because a lot of people, low literacy adults, they actually really they have the it's very common that they pass this low literacy to their children, just because their whole life they acknowledge that they're low literate, and they have all kind of coping mechanism to hide actually their low literacy. So it's very difficult to address this issue with parents, also for teachers. And actually, these kind of people who need public libraries the most. They often do not come even near libraries because they have for themselves decided that books are not for them. They will not read books, and they don't like books, and they don't read, and it's nothing for them. And if they would go to a public library, very soon the people working there or people will see that they cannot read very well. And so it was very special to have this group of parents in the exhibition. And the thing about this exhibition is that, as you saw, it's very simple. It gives very basic messages. It's very pictorial also. It's easy access. It's also combined with a lot of educational materials that can inspire people. And what was very nice to see is that parents got, usually if you say to parents, you have to read aloud to your children because otherwise they will be bad readers. That is stressing people out, and it has the negative effect. So this is an exhibition where you actually show to parents, you don't need books at home. No, you just can start over with publicity leaflets, or you can just talk to your children on the bus going home. Well, just check out the traffic signs and talk about it with your children, because that is what we saw in this European project, is that low literate families, there's a lot less talking to start with. They don't talk to children. Children do not come home and their parents don't ask, what did you do today? Explain me what you had in school. They don't. So they are in an environment where people don't read, but also don't really talk a lot about the things they see around them. So we try to give these really basic messages without pointing, especially focusing on the parents to be what they can do and not what they should do.
Yeah, maybe, well, we focus now on the disadvantaged families, but I have to say that there are also a lot of, how do you say it, model families who tells us that they were brought with the television and they don't know anymore children rhymes. And they ask the professionals, and even we met also the preschool teachers that they would like to be taught more about it, because somehow this oral tradition disappears little by little. Well, what we want to say, have faith in parents, help them as a teacher, tell them what they can do, because they can do a lot home. And yeah, we thank you very much for the
thank you so much for your presentation. Are there any questions for any of the speakers? So either for Christine, Nicoletta, or Nathalie? So I put there, you can see in the slides now, so for the feedback survey and for the certificate request, and here, as it was requested, I'll put again some documents from Christine that you can download. So here are the PDF files. Any questions so far? Anyone in the chat? Any other last comments or remarks from? Yes, Christine. I will. Yeah, sorry. I'll just.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
now we can
wanted
hear you.
to add some comments to my materials. I uploaded the Baccoli teacher workbook and trainer handbook, so the English master versions. But if any one of the participants wants to work with this material, you know that it's translated into the languages of the participating countries. And it's even, Bakolit is even translated into Russian. So just have a look if you want to have it, for example, the German version or the Portuguese version or the Russian version or whatever. So just address me that I can help you. And the same is true if you want to work with the Bakolit PowerPoint slides. You find them all printed in the trainer handbook, but of course I could provide you with the PowerPoint files if you want them. You should just write me an email and then I will, of course, help you with that. So that's just what I wanted to add.
Yeah, great. And we, of course, we share the slides with you on the webinar page. And from there, you can also find the contact information, and we also put all the materials there too. And yeah, your email. Perhaps we can go back to your the slide with your contact details. Sorry, I'm just going to.
You mean mine? Oh, okay. Yes. Where is it? Oh, there is. My email isn't. Obviously, it's not there. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Shall I type it here
into
in the chat?
Yeah, you can type it into the chat box. Yes, in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest. Yeah. Any last questions from the participants? Because we're already a bit over time here. I think we had a lot to share and a lot to learn. And it was great to have these two different, not perspectives, but these two different areas. So we had a little bit older students and a little bit younger students and different approaches and a nice overview and with a nice example. So unless there are any other questions, I think we can close this session.